got the best company in the world. We are the ones. We got the product. We got the leadership. We are the most unbelievable people. We're simply the best. got the best company in the world. We are the ones. We got the product. We got the leadership. We are the most unbelievable people. We're simply the best.
Hello, everybody. Eric Worre here. If you can see me and if you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat, please, just so I can see that everything's working. Good to see you. I hope you're well. And I was watching in the chat as we were starting, or we're getting ready to start, and saw so many people from the Asia Pacific marketplace, the APAC, and I'm excited to let you know I will be in the APAC market for the extravaganza, May 10th through the 12th. Looking forward to seeing all of those that are going to be there at that event. We have 90 minutes of straight training to deliver to you. Last week, we talked about conversations, all businesses conversation, filling the funnel. And I hope you took that seriously. We'll talk about that in a moment. But before we do, and before we get into this week's training, which is what to do with all those conversations, I have a few very quick announcements. First, the replays and the handouts in English are available everywhere. Spanish translations are up as well. The localized replays and handouts on Herbalife Premier League are coming for Europe, Africa, and APAC, and are available or will be available this week. So for last week's replay, so you encourage everybody to join the call in person whenever you can. So you get the information. The replays take a bit of time because it's like 56 languages. It's going to be quicker for the next calls as we have some AI translation process established. So yeah, something happens when you're this huge. Takes a bit of time to put everything together, but the team's working around the clock to deliver the best to you at all times. I would also tell you, well, I'll tell you that in a moment. I'd like you to do a couple things. One is let me know. We had a conversation challenge this last week. Let me know, how many conversations did you start? How many conversations did you start? Put into the chat, what's the number? How many conversations did you start? And if the chat bothers you, you can always minimize it. So you don't have to look at it, but it helps me to see how many. Look at all these numbers. A lot of big numbers inside of this chat. Congratulations, because all business is what? All business is conversation. And do the number of conversations that you have started in the last 7 days, do they match your ambitions in building your Herbalife business? Because I will tell you something. What you started this last week is something that you should always be doing, always be in conversation, because you don't want to fill the funnel, then empty the funnel, and then fill it again, empty it again. Always be adding conversations. Always, always be adding conversations. We had something like 120,000 people watch last week's training, and it looks to me like our average conversations was about 100 conversations per person. So that's something like 12 million conversations happened in the last 7 days. Just connecting with other human beings. Just connecting. So people are asking about the Hindi translation in the chat. I don't know if there's an issue there or not, but pass it on. So congratulations for starting those conversations. I know sometimes that takes some courage to be able to do. I know it did for me. It scared me having those conversations, even when they were just normal conversations. It still intimidated me as an introverted person. But second question I want to ask you before we get into this is, are you committed to qualifying for Premier League? Put a 1 in the chat if you're committed to qualifying for Premier League. This is an absolute commitment. This is an absolute solid. It's not just a goal. It's an intention that you're going to make this happen. Well, let me quickly just walk you through Premier League again, very, very quickly, because you can find this in your back office. But how to qualify, the back office will tell you how you qualify, how you get signed up. Go to myherbalife.com, get yourself qualified. Sooner you qualify, the faster you get the benefits and the longer you get the benefits. And all the perks and benefits, the events, the gifts, the recognition. What I'm most excited about is for those who qualify, I'm going to have an ongoing training relationship with you, and I'm going to be delivering an advanced leadership development training program for all people who qualify for the Herbalife Premier League. This is serious training, because what I believe is I think everything rises and falls on leadership. As you become a stronger leader, as you teach other people how to become strong leaders, that's going to be the strength of your business. That's going to help you do what you need to do in order to be successful. And also, as we start, I would ask all of you to join the Herbalife Premier League channel now on HLF CEO, at HLF CEO on Instagram. HLF CEO. That's going to give you program updates, recognition, and announcements. Make sure that you join and follow that channel. So let me talk to you about the training schedule and the topics, and then we'll get into it. Last week, we talked about filling the funnel, starting as many conversations. We finished last week with the conversation challenge. How many conversations are you willing to have? Are you prepared to have in order to be able to ultimately educate people so they understand what we're doing? This week, we're going to talk about how to introduce Herbalife to those prospects. How you introduce Herbalife to those prospects. How do they understand what you have? How do you educate them? Then next week, I'm going to teach you specifically how to enroll. How to enroll those prospects and enroll them into distributors. We're going to be focused on business builders, not just enrolling customers, but enrolling distributors. And then week 4, this is a special training that you have to qualify for, is about duplication, radical duplication, to get people into action on your team. But you can't get into that training unless you've personally recruited frontline at least one new distributor since January 1st. Okay? And then next month in May, on May 21st, we're going to have the first ever Premier League Advanced Leadership Development Training and that I'm going to be delivering. But that's normally going to be for only Premier League, fully qualified Premier League people. But next month, one time, we're going to let people who are halfway there, who have at least 5 personally sponsored people with 250 volume points each. If you have at least 5 of those, then we're going to let you into this first ever Premier League Leadership Development Training and let you get a taste of what that's all about. Okay, so that's the schedule. Next, let's recap real quickly what we went through last week. All business is conversation. All business is conversation. There's 4 things that we do. 4 things that we do in Herbalife. 1, we sell valuable products using word-of-mouth advertising. 2, we recruit an ever-expanding team of other people who are also selling. 3, we duplicate the process. And 4, we lead the teams that we build. Our overall goal, and I want you to just make sure you get solid on this. Our ultimate goal is education and understanding. It's not sales. It's not recruiting. It's not even rank advancement. It's just education. If you as a professional focus on education and understanding, then you're going to win. You're going to win. If you educate enough people, they know what you have in your hands with Herbalife, with the products and with the opportunity. Once they know what you have, it's going to be easy for them to make a decision. It's going to be much harder for them to judge what you have because what you have is so amazing. And again, I will say, with the conversation challenge, keeping the funnel full at all times. Keep the funnel full at all times. So I have a question for all of you as we start part 2. How long have you been involved in Herbalife in number of years? How many years have you been involved? How many years? Take a look. It's a lot of history. Everybody from brand new to decades have been involved in this company, and it's part of the legacy that's made this company great. And if you know anything about Mark Hughes' training, you'll know that Mr. Hughes trained 3 specific things. Do you know what those 3 specific things are? Use the products. Wear the swag, wear the button, and talk to people. This is why the conversation challenge shouldn't be so foreign to you. He was telling you 44 years ago, talk to people, talk to people, talk to people. Nothing happens until you talk to people. Use, wear, and talk. Use, wear, and talk. Use, wear, and talk. So, we started the conversation challenge, and this week we're going to get into introducing Herbalife to your prospects. What are you going to do with all those conversations that you've started? Now, I got to take you back to when I first got started in network marketing. I had this perception that when I signed up, I thought people would at least take a look. I thought, I have this opportunity. If I call them, they'd at least take a look. They'd be willing to do that. And I found out that that was not true. People were not willing to look. I would call them up and I'd say, hey, I have an opportunity for you. And they'd say, I'm not interested. And I would say, you don't even know what I'm going to say. They said, yeah, still, I'm not interested. So what I've learned over the last 36 years is inviting people to take a look is the gateway skill. If you don't figure this out, if you don't learn how to invite people to take a look, then your chances are really, really, really small to build any kind of business. That's your job. Your job is to educate people to the point that they understand what you have. That's your job. This is the gateway skill. If you master this skill, you're on your way. And tonight, today, this morning, wherever you are in the world, I'm going to give you some training on how to master the skill of inviting. I know everybody's asking for Hindi. I would just tell you, Hindi's not available. So if somebody can tell the people who are asking for Hindi, it's not available on this chat for whatever reason in this translation. Okay? So, for the sake of everybody, I'll just let you know. Transitioning. You have this conversation. Now let's talk. Let's talk about transitioning the conversation to a business conversation. How do you transition the conversation to a business conversation? There are 2 transition points. You're talking to somebody, you're having conversation, right? Talking about life, talking about what's new with them. They're talking about what's new with you. You've had all these different conversations. You kept business out of it. There comes a point when you can transition the conversation to a business conversation. And it's going to happen one of 2 ways. One is that they're going to ask you, so what's new with you? What's going on with your business? What are you doing for work? They'll come to you, and that will open the door for you to make an invitation. Okay? And I'm going to give you some ways to do that. Or if they don't do that, then you can do it. You can go to them. You can go to them. And you can say, listen, since we've been talking, I can't get you out of my head. I've been thinking about you, and I have something that might be interesting to you. Let me ask you a couple questions. I might be crazy. Call me crazy, but I have an idea for you. So they can come to you or you can come to them. I'm going to give you one of the great transition questions of all time. Okay? Here's one of the great transition questions. Have you ever started your own business? Write that down. Have you ever started your own business? Let me ask all of you. Have you ever started your own business? Give me a 1 if it's a yes. Give me a 2 if it's a no. Everybody's got an answer, right? You're keeping the conversation going. So let me walk you through this and why this question is so great. I come to you and I say, hey, you know what? I've been thinking about you. We've been talking about this other stuff. Have you ever started your own business? And you say, no, I haven't. My next question is, why not? Why haven't you started your own business? And then you're going to give me a list of reasons. I didn't have the money. I didn't have the time. I didn't have the expertise. I didn't have the product. It was too risky. I was too scared. I was too intimidated. A million reasons, right? And then I can say, what if all of those things that you were worried about were taken care of? What if there was a product that was already created? What if there was support in place? What if there was training that would take care of you and help you learn how to build the business? What if you could do this part-time and you didn't have such a huge risk? What if there was a way for you to become an entrepreneur and start your own business? What if there was a way for you to do that without all of the scary things that were typically connected to starting a traditional business? Would you be interested in maybe learning more? Pretty good transition, right? If they say, no, I haven't stopped, or I haven't started my own business, you ask why. They tell you why and say, what if I'm able to solve those problems for you? What's the other thing that they could say? The other thing that they could say, if you ask them, have you ever started your own business? They could say yes. And then what are you going to ask? How's it going? How's it going? And for the average person, what are they going to say? Either they're not in business anymore, or it's tough. It's hard. It's challenging. If they went out of business, you can ask why. They'll give you a list, and then you have an opportunity to introduce Herbalife to them. If they're in business and it's hard, you could say you have an opportunity to introduce Herbalife to them as a way to have maybe an easier path. Some of them are going to say, when you asked if you started your own business, they say yes. How's it going? They're going to say it's going great. And then you can say, fantastic. How many locations do you have? How many cities are you in? How many countries are you in? Oh, no, I just have the one location. I'm not international. Why aren't you international? Because that would be too hard. And then you have, again, another opportunity to transition and say, what if there was a way for you to have an international business? So, I'm afraid, because of the Hindi thing, we might have to turn the chat off. I just don't think there's a choice. So, I would love it if there was. Not much I can do. I would like to have it for interaction so we can talk together, but I can't if if it's going to be a distraction. So, sorry. Ciao, ciao. We're going to move on. Great transition question is, have you ever started your own business? No matter what they say, you can ask additional questions. And from those additional questions, you can go to and end up with a way to introduce Herbalife, and you can use the magic phrase. And this magic phrase is so valuable to you. I mean, it's been more helpful than any other phrase in my entire network marketing career. I've trained it all over the world. It's very simple. It's if I, would you? If I, would you? If I could show you a way to start a business without the traditional risks, start a business part-time, start a business with a flexible schedule, start a business with the products already taken care of, start a business with support and training and everything else that's provided in an Herbalife business. If I could show you a way to start one with all of those things that were a hindrance to you before, would you be willing to learn about it? Would you be willing to take a look? What's my goal? Education and understanding. If I will do this, would you take a look? Would you take the next step? If I, would you? The magic phrase. So back to the two transition points. Either they're going to come to you, say, hey, what's going on with you? And I'm going to give you exactly what to do when that happens. Or you can go to them. Open the door, ask them some questions. One of my favorites is, have you ever started your own business? But there's a lot of ways that you can transition you to them. One of them is, hey, here's one of my favorites. Since we've been talking, I have an intuition about you. I've been thinking about you and a business that I'm involved with, and you might call me crazy, but I think there's something we might be able to do together. And, feel free to say no. It's just a crazy intuition, but I'd like to share it with you. Simple as that. You already have the conversation going. Either they're going to open the door or you can open the door. And then I'm going to give you a little pro tip is transition off the platform. Whatever platform you start on, if you start on WhatsApp, transition to voice if you can, voice to voice, because that's going to be more valuable, different. If you're on direct messaging or whatever platform you start on, try to get to voice or face to face. That's going to give you the best results, voice to voice or face to face. So now, one of the most valuable tools you have in transitioning and getting people open to taking a look, it might surprise you what it is, but one of the best transition tools you have is your story. So I want to teach you how to tell your story. Your story is a powerful tool, and I will tell you, I learned this from my early Herbalife mentors, and those mentors told me the power of a testimonial. Facts tell and stories sell. I learned how to tell my testimonial. I learned how to tell my story. That was the first thing I learned. First little tiny skill that I learned in network marketing was how to tell my story to another person. And that story was like my business card. And it was a way for me to build rapport with another person. So when you're transitioning your conversation and you go back to somebody, you started a conversation, you have the conversation going right now, you can come back to them. Whether they open up the door or you open up the door, you can say, can I tell you my story? I just want to tell you my story. Since we've been talking, I want to tell you my story. And there's 4 parts to telling your story. And I learned if there's a little bit of a structure to telling a story, it's much easier. For me, it's much easier to remember. It's much easier for me to just kind of have it be natural. 4 parts. Part number 1 is your background. Every one of you has a background. What did you do prior to getting involved in Herbalife? Teacher, doctor, stay-at-home mom, nurse, police officer, you name it, construction worker. Whatever your background is your background. Part 2, you might like some of the things that you did, but I'm sure there's some things that you didn't like. What are some of the things that you didn't like about what you did that was causing you anxiety or frustration or dissatisfaction on some level? Maybe you weren't making enough money. Maybe you weren't being recognized. Maybe there was no career advancement opportunities. Maybe you were being discriminated against. Maybe there was politics. A million things. Maybe it was hard on your body. Lots of things could happen that would cause you to have some dissatisfaction. So your background, number 1, what you didn't like, number 2. Number 3, that you found a solution. You found a solution with Herbalife. To those things that you didn't like, you found a solution to be able to build a new life, to do something different. And part 4, how you feel about the future. How you feel about the future. So your background, what you didn't like, that you found a solution, and how you feel about the future. Now, let me give you an example here. Let's take a teacher, and keep those 4 things up, please. Let's take a teacher as an example. Here's what I know about teachers, and it's ironic because I was not a good student. So my poor teachers had to endure me as a poor student, and now I'm something of a teacher. But here's what I know about teachers. Number 1, they're the heroes of the world. They're educating the next generation. If you know a teacher, you should just thank a teacher because they're pretty amazing people. But I also know this about teaching. The hours are long. The task is difficult. There's a lot of politics involved in teaching. No matter how good you are at teaching, there's only so much money they're going to pay you. The system knows that you'll put in the extra hours grading those papers. They don't need to pay you for those hours. The system knows that you'll take care of the kids if they don't have the right materials. You don't really get appreciated like you should. Somebody who's been around longer, even if they're a worse teacher, might get more recognition than you do. You're way better than they are, but they've been around longer, so they get more recognition than you do. Am I pretty close? Throw a heart in the chat if you're a teacher or you know somebody that's a teacher, and my description's pretty close. A lot of hearts. So your background, I'm as you know, I was a teacher. I'm not saying you have to hate being a teacher. There's some great things about being a teacher, but there's some negatives too. Here's some of the things I didn't like, and I found a solution with Herbalife. I found a way to take my skills as a teacher, to teach other people about products, to teach other people about an opportunity, to teach other people how to recruit and duplicate and lead. I found a way to use my skills in a way where I was celebrated instead of just tolerated. I didn't have to worry about politics, and I was paid what I was worth to the penny based upon the volume that I brought to the company. The company would compensate me fairly, not based upon politics, but based upon production. And part 4, how you feel about the future now. So now when I get up in the morning, I don't dread the day. Now when I get up in the morning, I'm excited. I see a better future for myself. So whatever your background, my first assignment for you today is to learn how to tell your story. Every one of you has a background. Every one of you has some things that you didn't like. Every one of you's found Herbalife. And every one of you can talk about how you feel about the future. Now, notice I don't talk about how much money you've made or what rank you are or how successful you are. That's not even important. What's important is how you feel about the future. So, and we want to be There's a reason why we have a statement of typical earnings. We don't want to mislead people. We don't want to talk about things that are non-typical. And sometimes when you're telling your story, you want to tell them, guess what? I lost this many pounds and everybody's losing that many pounds. Well, that's probably not typical. And it's also not necessary. To build rapport with somebody else, tell your story, be responsible in telling your story, your background, what you didn't like, you found a solution, and how you feel about the future. And in doing so, you'll build rapport with your prospect, and you will increase your chances that they will at least take a look. And what is our goal? Our goal is education and understanding. And if they'll take a look, we're better able to achieve our goal of education and understanding. So again, put up the 4 parts. I want to ask a question. What do you think is the most important of these 4? 1, 2, 3, or 4? If we had the chat up, I would ask you, but we don't. Just in your mind, what do you think is the most important of these 4? And I'll tell you what it is. It's part 2. Part 2. Well, your pain, your dissatisfaction, your frustration. You're going to find that the other people are like, me too. The fact that you're willing to share the things that you're frustrated with, but not stay frustrated. You know, if you just did part 1 and 2, here's my background, here's what I didn't like. Now you're just a complainer. You're just a whiner. Nobody wants to listen to that. But if you said, here's my background, here's what I didn't like, and I found a solution. And here's how I feel about the future now. Now everybody's leaning in. Now everybody can relate. Now you've built some real rapport. Okay? And then you can lean right back to if I would you. If I could show you the solution that I found, would you be willing to take a look at it? If I could introduce you to a video, if I could send you a link, would you watch it? If I could introduce you to somebody else that would tell you about the solution that I found, would you talk with them? If I invited you to a Zoom that explained the solution that I found, would you attend? See, if you tell your story, it's going to open doors. It's going to take these conversations from just conversations into meaningful business conversations. So I'm going to ask you to practice your story. Tell your story to your spouse. You probably never have. Not your real story. Tell this 4-part story to your spouse. Tell it to your kids. Tell it to your team. Tell it to your upline. Tell it to your dog. Tell it to your cat. Tell it to your friends. Tell it to your extended family. Tell it to everybody until you get solid with it. This was a huge confidence builder for me. Once I learned how to tell my story, I told it when I sat down for coffee with somebody, I would tell them my story. If I met somebody randomly on the street and they were a friend of mine or whatever, I would tell them my story. If we hadn't caught up, let me tell you my story. If I told my story at a meeting. I told my story on every call. I told my story on every Zoom. I told my story every time I was face to face with somebody. I was constantly telling my story. You do the same thing and your results are going to change dramatically. Now, how many of you have ever gotten a hard time from your close family and friends? Put some emoji into the chat. If you've ever gotten a hard time, give thumbs up if you've ever gotten a hard time from your close family and friends, where they've just given you heat. They were just not nice. You were excited about your business, and they just gave you all kinds of heat about it. Well, I have a way, a proven way, for all of you to get more support from your close friends and family, what I call your hot market. Give me another thumbs up if you're interested in learning how to do that. How to get your close friends and family to support you in your Herbalife business. Even if they don't join you, at least support you. That would be a good thing, right? This simple process is 7 steps And again, you're going to see it in English here, and then you're going to get it later in all the different languages. And I also we'll be sending it out in a document in all the languages, but it's going to take a few days to do it. But for now, write notes as quick as you can. Step 1, contact somebody and be in a hurry. If I'm calling my brother, hey, say, listen, brother, I'm in a hurry. I don't have a lot of time, but there's something I needed to tell you. People are naturally attracted. It's naturally more interesting if somebody's in a hurry than if they have all the time in the world, okay? So just be in a hurry in general. This is a good tool to getting people to take a look. Be in a hurry. Step 2, compliment them. If I'm calling my brother, who's normally going to give me a hard time, I'm going to compliment my brother. I'm going to focus on the support that my brother has given me and I believe will give me for the rest of my life. We have our ups and downs, brother, but I know if I really need you, that you'll have my back. I know that you'll support me. And your support my whole life has meant the world to me, and I just wanted to thank you for that. Find something to compliment them about. Focus on complimenting on their support. Okay? That's step 2. Step 3, mention that you're involved with Herbalife. Briefly mention you're involved with Herbalife. And then very quickly, step 4, quickly disqualify them as a distributor prospect. As you might know, my brother, I joined Herbalife. But don't worry. You're not a prospect. I'm not here to try and recruit you. Okay? So just relax. Just relax. I'm not trying to recruit you. And you're gonna wonder, why are you doing this? How is this going to work? Just trust me. With close friends and family, this process works very, very well. What is our goal? Education and understanding. Education and understanding. So be in a hurry. Compliment them. Briefly mention you're involved with Herbalife. Quickly disqualify them as a distributor prospect. Okay, so my brother, you're not a prospect. But let me quickly tell you my story. My background, what I didn't like, I found a solution, and how I feel about the future. Which is going to open up my brother's heart. Open up his understanding as to what I'm doing. This is my business. I'm not asking you to join. But I am going to, number 6, ask you for support. There are 4 different ways a close friend or family member can support you. Here's the first. Option 1. I need your support, my brother. It would mean the world to me if you would be my customer one time. Not forever. I'm not asking you to be there forever. If I opened up a restaurant, I would expect that you'd at least come to my restaurant one time. If you hated it, I wouldn't ask you to come back. If you liked it the same as another restaurant, I hope that you'd come to my restaurant instead of somebody else's. And if you loved it, I hope you come back a lot and tell your friends. All I want you to do, and it would mean the world to me, I have my goals as far as customer goals, as far as sales goals, everything else. Will you be my customer one time? And depending on what product, what market you're in, figure out the price point that would be an appropriate price point. $25, $50, $100. Here's a little package. Would you be my customer one time? If you were my friend or my family member, and I went through these 6 steps and I asked you, would you be my customer one time? Give me a thumbs up or give me a heart if you'd agree to be my one-time customer. Not forever, just one time. It's a respectful way to ask. Look at all the thumbs ups and the hearts. It's respectful. And if you ask me, I'd be your customer one time. You know how many times I've been customers for close friends and family members? If they ask me to be a customer every month for forever, the answer is no. But one time, I'm in. Some of them might not have the money, or they might not have the belief. So option 1 doesn't work. Here's option 2. I'm new to this, or I'm nervous. I'm trying to build a business and I'm nervous. I need a friendly face. Can I practice my presentation on you? Can I sit down on Zoom or on FaceTime or on WhatsApp video, or sit down for breakfast or lunch, and can I just practice my presentation on you? It won't take too long. It'll take like 20 minutes. Can I practice on you? Can I go through my little presentation? It would really help me. I'm just trying to get better. You can give me some feedback. Tell me if I'm terrible. Tell me if I need to get, I need to work on some things. I want to become a professional here. Can I practice on you? If I practice on my brother, will I accomplish my goal? Yes or no? Answer is yes. What's my goal? Education. I educated my brother on what I did, even if I'm no good, just by practicing my presentation. If he becomes a one-time customer, am I educating him about the products? Yes. If he agrees that I could practice my presentation, am I educating him on the opportunity? The answer is yes. That's my goal. And then he can make a decision, but I'm not pushing him to do it. Option 3, you can ask for referrals. Do you know anybody else who's interested in health and wellness? Do you know anybody else who's looking for opportunity? Do you know anybody else who's dissatisfied with where they are? Do you know anybody else? Because I want to build a business. Be my brother. Support me. Introduce me to some of those people. It would mean the world to me if you would do that. That's option 3. And option 4, this one's a secret weapon. This one's amazing. Even if they can't do 1, 2, or 3, or even if they agree to do all 3, if they agree to be a customer, if they agree to let you practice on them, and they agree to give you referrals, still ask for option 4. Will you encourage me? I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to be successful. Will you push me? Will you encourage me? Will you kick me in the butt every once in a while if you see me getting distracted? If I lose my focus, will you call me up every once in a while and say, hey, what are you doing with that business of yours? Get back to work. I need you to hold me accountable. Will you, my brother, hold me accountable to my dreams? Will you push me to be the best that I can be? That would really matter, and I would really appreciate it. So these are the 4 options in asking for support. I want you to think about your close friends and family. If you followed this simple process, be in a hurry, compliment them, tell them you're in Herbalife, disqualify them as a distributor prospect, briefly tell them your story, 4 parts, and then ask them for support using one of these 4 options. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you think you would have had better results than you've had so far. Like, I'm telling you, this works in every culture. This works in every language. This works in every country. This works for every age group. This works everywhere. Use this approach. And then there's just a simple step 7, which is follow up. Follow up. If they agree to be a customer. Follow up. Keep and stay in touch with them. Follow up. Now, I also have to tell you one thing. This hot market, I'm telling you, it's gold. It's gold. Every one of you should be able to add customers this week using this process. Okay? Not guaranteeing that you will, but you should if you have enough conversations going already. Some of them are going to be close friends and family. Use this with close friends and family and watch what happens to your results. Now, I will tell you, some of you have people that when you approach them, hot market people, They're going to say, no, if this is about Herbalife, I don't even want you to talk to me. Don't even talk to me. You were so pushy before. I can't take it. It's too much. Some of you were way over aggressive when you first got involved in Herbalife and you expected them to join. You expected them to be part of your business right away. You were pushy. You were very salesy, inappropriate at times. When they said no, you kept pushing and pushing and pushing. Some of you, most of us have done that at some point because we're so excited. So here's what you can do with them. Just apologize. If somebody says, look, if this is Herbalife, don't even talk to me. Just apologize. Say, look, first of all, can I just say I'm sorry? You're my friend. You're my family member. Can I say I'm sorry for pushing so hard? I was just overexcited. I apologize. I apologize for being too pushy. And don't worry about it. I'm not going to try to recruit you as a distributor. Your support and your relationship is way more important than you getting involved in my business. I'm building a business. But I'm not expecting you to build a business. Now, if you're willing to support me in building my business, that would be amazing. And you can start with whatever one of those options you want. Would you hold me accountable to my dreams? Would you push me? Right? Can I practice on you? I'm not expecting you to join. Don't worry about it. But any one of those options will accomplish our goal, which is education and understanding. That's what we're here to do. Educate people to the point that they understand what we have. Okay? You got this? Hot market. Throw that slide up one more time. Here's the full thing. Be in a hurry. Compliment them. Focus on support. Briefly mention you're involved in Herbalife. Quickly disqualify them as a distributor prospect. Briefly tell them your story, 4 parts. Ask for support, 4 options, and follow up. Okay? So, and we have this document that we will send out to all of you in language so you have it. So, approaching your hot market, we got that covered. Now let's talk about how to approach everybody else. One of the most powerful things that you're going to use, the first is your story, and the second is third-party tools. Third-party tools. They're one of the most valuable ways to educate your prospect is not your voice or your smarts, is third-party tools. Let me give you some third-party tool examples. And these are just examples. Around the world, there's lots of different tools, and you need to talk to your leadership, find out what tools are working in your country, in your market, in your language. Find out what tools are working, okay? Events is one part of third party, whether they're in person or virtual. Large company events, local company events, small group or home meetings, breakfast or lunch groups, 3-way phone calls or chats, two-on-one phone calls or chats, one-on-one calls if you introduce to a third party, Zoom, webinars, conference calls, social media lives. Those are some examples of events that could be third party. The events give the information. You connect the prospect to the event and let the event do the work. Okay, the event gives the information. You're the connector. Second category of third party are what I would call tools. Videos, audios, websites, product, brochures, magazines, testimonials, books, news articles, marketing pieces, stories. And you're like, hold on, how is a story a third-party tool? If I'm telling my story, is that a third-party tool? Well, the story is giving the facts, not your intelligence. The story is giving the information, is educating the person, not your smarts. You don't have to be a wizard here. You don't have to be amazing at at everything involved in knowing the answer to every question. Let the events and the tools give the information. You don't have to do that. You just have to connect the prospect to the third-party tool. And the third category are people. So there's events, there's tools, and there's people. There's your upline, there's cross-line, other people involved in your company. There's friends in the business, wherever they are. Let those other people give the facts to your prospect. Okay? Now, let me put it to you this way. This is just some examples, and I'm sure there's more in your market. Find out what's working right now in your market and lean in on what's working. Here's the basic rule. Anything that's not you. Use anything that's not you to give the facts. You are the connector. You're a one part consultant and one part connector. You're going to connect the prospect to the information. And you're going to use a third party to give the information. So if you learn to tell your story and then do the thing using whatever the thing is in your market, using whatever third party tool is working in your market or combination of tools, then you're going to have more success than if you try to do it out of your own intelligence. If it's you doing it, you're limited. Even if you're great. This is the trap that some very influential people get caught in. Some people say, listen, if I tell people to do something, they're just going to do it. And I'm really, really smart. So why would I waste time using a tool when I can just give people the information and they'll join? My success rate is huge. Because we're in a duplication business. And it might work for you because you're influential. But they're going to try and do what you did with them, and they're not going to have the same level of success. So if you've built a lot of, you've recruited a lot of people, but they're not having the same success as you're having, that's why you're not using third-party tools enough. So if you're successful, use third-party tools with your prospects. But for your team member, you can be a third-party tool for their prospects. Do you understand? So here's the other basic rule. If your lips are moving, you should be asking questions, acting like a consultant, asking questions. You should be pointing to other third-party tools or resources. You should be reading other third-party tools and resources, showing it to them. You should be introducing them to a tool or to an event or to a person, or you should be telling a story. This is your job. This is your job, is to use these processes to educate the prospect. If you want to get people to take a look, tell your story, and then if your lips are moving, ask questions, point, read, introduce, tell stories. Lead them to a third-party tool. Your goal, you're one part consultant, one part connector. Your goal, again, is education and understanding. You want to have long-term success building an Herbalife business? Your goal is to educate the prospect to the point that they understand it. Once they understand it, they can make a decision. Your role, your job, is one part consultant, and consultants ask questions so they understand people's needs, and one part connector. You're going to try and connect your prospect to the information so they can become educated. And third party, whatever third party tool is going to be the thing that gives the facts. So if you can just kind of take a look at this chart, it'll explain it to you. You and your prospect have a trust relationship. The prospect has more of a respect relationship with the third party. It'll respect that other source of information more than it respects you. It'll trust you as a person, but it won't necessarily respect you. So if our goal is education and understanding, we need to use our trust relationship to introduce the prospect to a third party. Let the third party educate the prospect. If the prospect likes what they see, they join you. Make sense? So, what are we here to do? tell our story, and do the thing. Whatever that thing is, that in your market, using a third-party resource, tell our story, use a third-party resource, whatever's working in your market, to educate the prospect. So let's talk about inviting to the exposure. The power of invitation. This is the gateway skill. There's 3 invite approaches. I'm not going to go deep into them, but I'll just say, depending on your prospect, there's a direct approach. If they respect you, you could say, hey, I want you to take a look at this. Come over to my house. Check this out. You can be very direct, but still use a third-party tool. When I thought of somebody that I'd love to work with, I thought about you. Come over here and check this out. Sit down. Let's talk about how we're going to do it together. Now, you can't have that direct conversation with everybody. You can have it with some, though. Save some time. Second is indirect, where you're going to be asking people for advice, for their opinion, for their guidance, for their input. Hey, would you check this out? Give me your feedback. An indirect approach. You'll use that a lot. Will you come check out this third-party thing and tell me what you think about it? I'd really value your opinion. Indirect. And then there's super indirect. This is for very powerful people who kind of look down on you. Maybe you respect them. They're very busy, very powerful, very, very successful. And again, with them, it's very similar to the hot market. You're going to say, look, you're not a prospect. I know you're very busy and I know you're very successful, but I also know that you're very influential. You know a lot of people. I'm building a business in this market, and I know you know a lot of people. If you can introduce me to some of those people that might be a candidate for what I'm doing, I'd make it worth your time. And if they agree to that, what are they going to need to know? What are you doing? And they've given you the opening now to educate them on what you have. You can educate them to the point that they understand it. And an entrepreneur cannot help but connect the dots. If they see it, they'll start to maybe there's something here for me. So direct, indirect, and super indirect. All 3 is going to work. But again, you're going to tell your story. You're going to do the thing leading to a third-party resource, and you're going to have the third-party resource do the education for you. Now, to get results quickly, I want you to get results quickly. Wouldn't that be fun? To recruit some people fast, to get some customers fast. There's no guarantee you're going to, but wouldn't it be better if you start with easy? Who's the easiest customer candidate that you can think of? Start there. Tell your story, introduce to third party, educate that prospect. Who's the easiest distributor candidate? Right? Go with them. Tell your story, do the thing. Tell your story, introduce to a third party. Tell your story. Use third party to educate. And just like conversation, quantity matters. The more time, I call this an exposure. You're exposing someone to Herbalife. Maybe a first exposure is the product. A second exposure is a video. A third exposure is a person. A fourth exposure is an event. A fifth exposure is something else. I mean, you keep going through. It doesn't even matter. There's no magical order. But you go from exposure to exposure to exposure to exposure. Your job, week 1, your job was to start as many conversations as possible. This week, your job is to expose the Herbalife information and business to as many people as possible using third-party tools. Whatever tools are working in your market, introduce them to those tools. It might be a person, might be an event, might be a physical tool. And I will tell you this, these 3 words changed my whole life. This was the secret weapon for me. Plan, do, review is your friend. Make a plan. I'm going to contact this person, hot market, and I'm going to follow this process. I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to review it immediately after. What worked, what didn't work, so I can make a better plan for the next time. And then do that and review it and make a better plan the next time. And do that and review it and make a better plan the next time. And do that and review it. And repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. If you want anything close to a formula for success in Herbalife, 1, start before you're ready. Some of you aren't ready right now. You need to start anyway. Start before you're ready. Start before you're prepared. Be willing to do it and be embarrassed. Be willing to put yourself in potentially embarrassing situations. Start before you're ready. If you're ready to start, give me a thumbs up. If you're ready to start, even if you're not prepared, you're not a professional, you're not a super pro. That's part 1 of Formula for Success. Part 2, don't quit. Don't quit. Stay the course. Continue to do the thing. Use plan, do, review to get better every single day. And the third thing is exactly that. Get better every single day. If you start before you're ready and you don't quit and you get better every day, how can you beat somebody who follows that formula? No matter where they are, no matter where they're starting in life, no matter how many years they've been involved, no matter how much success they've had in the past, no matter what family they've come from, no matter what their background, no matter what their experience, if somebody agrees to start before they're ready, if they agree that they're not going to quit and they get better every day, some people say, oh, you'll succeed if you don't quit. Not true. That's not true. You have to be willing to start before you're ready. You have to not quit, of course, but then you have to get better. And the way you get better is plan, do, review. Plan, do, review. Now, there's a lot of ways to invite somebody to take a look at something. I'm going to just give you one of those. How do you invite, let's say, to have somebody watch a video? Would you like me to give you, when I got started in this profession, a video was a great tool for somebody to understand what it is that I had. It was a great tool. It was better than me trying to explain it. So the video was a great tool. How many of you, give me a thumbs up in the chat if you have a video that you could share with somebody that would explain the opportunity that you had in some sort of short, summarized fashion. Doesn't have to be a long, crazy thing. Okay? Most of you, I'm seeing lots of thumbs up. Most of you are saying you have one. I thought that if I invited somebody to watch a video, that they'd watch it. And I realized that like 10% of people watched it. So I wanted to increase my numbers. So I used plan, do, review, and I came up with a formula. And I'm going to share a formula to invite to a video that will work and take your small percentages and raise them up dramatically. For me personally, I went from like a 10% of people would watch the video to like 80% of the people watch the video. Just with this simple process that I'm going to give to you right now. How to invite to a third-party tool. Step number 1, if I would you. So if I go to you and I say, prospect, I have a video that explains my business way better than I could. It's 7 minutes long. If I sent you a link, would you watch it? And then I shut up. I let them know that I have this thing. It's not too long. I let them know how much time it's going to take them to be able to do it. If I sent it to you, I'm not saying please watch it. If I sent it to you, would you watch it? What are most of them going to say? Sure, why not? Does that mean they're going to watch it? Nope. That's what I did at first, and almost nobody did. I'd send them the link. They never watched it. So I had to learn to ask 3 more questions. So question number 1, if I sent you a link, would you watch it? Step 2, they say yes. When can you watch it for sure? I still don't give them the link. When can you watch it for sure? And whatever day or time they give me is fine. I'll watch it right away. Fantastic. I'll watch it over the weekend. Wonderful. I'll watch it by Christmas. Spectacular. I'll watch it this June 1st. Okay. Whatever date they give you, it's their date. Fine. When can you watch it for sure? I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste mine. Now, are they still going to watch? Still not yet. Step 3. So if I contact you after June 1st, you'll have watched it for sure, right? If I contact you after Christmas, you'll have watched it for sure, right? If I contact you after this weekend, you'll have watched it for sure, right? And now they're going, oh, I guess I'm going to watch this thing. And then step 4 is, they're going to say yes. Step 4 is, when do you want me to get back with you? Do you want me to, like on Monday morning, do you want me to text you? Do you want me to call you? What's the best way for me to get in touch with you after the weekend? Because you're going to watch it for sure by the time the weekend's over. Send me a SMS. Send me a WhatsApp. All right, fantastic. I'll send you a WhatsApp. How about Monday morning? Does that work for you? All right, Monday morning. I got it in my calendar. I'm going to send you a WhatsApp message on Monday morning, and I can't wait to hear what you think of this video. If you feel like calling me between now and then, if you see it between now and then, feel free. If not, I'll talk to you on Monday. Now, what do you think happens to my success in getting somebody to watch the video using that approach? Straight up. What's my goal? Education and understanding. So I use this simple process to get somebody to watch the video. I can get them to watch a Zoom replay. I can get them I could follow this process with just about anything tool related. If I gave you a sample of a shake, would you make it at home? Question number 1. Question number 2, when can you make it and drink it for sure? So if I contact you after that, you'll have tasted the product, you'll have tried that product for sure, right? What's the best number and time for me to call? I'm telling you, these simple little processes, this is what I learned from Mr. Rohn. How to take really complicated things. And if you know anything about Mr. Rohn, he had a lot of 6 steps to this and 3 steps to that and 5 steps to this. And you'll notice in everything that I do, it's little steps and steps and steps. I'm a good student. I became a good student as an adult, thanks to Mr. Rohn. So, 4 steps. 1 note on these 4 steps. You may need to repeat steps 2 through 4 because if I go, hey, I have a video, it's 7 minutes long, explains better than I could. If I sent you a link, would you watch it? They say yes. When can you watch it for sure? By this weekend. So if I call you on Monday, you'll have seen it for sure, right? Yep, you'll have seen it for sure. All right, what's the best time for me to get a hold of you? Text or phone? What do you want me to do? Send me an SMS. Monday morning's good? Yeah, okay, fantastic. I SMS on Monday morning. And I say, what did you like best about the video? And they say, oh, I got busy. Life got in the way. There was something that happened with the kids and I didn't see it. No problem. I used to get mad. You said you were going to watch it. You're wasting my time. No problem. I just repeat step 2 through 4. When do you think you could watch it for sure? All right. So if I contact you after that, you'll have seen it absolutely for sure. What's the best number and time for me to contact you after you've seen it this time? And I'll keep repeating that over and over and over until they've seen it. What's my goal? Education and understanding. Give me a thumbs up if you feel like you'd be more successful inviting people to a third-party tool using this simple 4-step process. It flat works. Tell your story. Invite to a third-party tool. Tell your story. invite to a third-party tool. With every conversation, use Hot Market for close friends and family. For everybody else, tell your story and invite to a third-party tool. Transition the conversation to a business conversation. Tell your story, invite to a third-party tool. So all of that leads to a challenge. How many of you are up for a challenge? How many of you are up for a challenge? Thumbs up if you're up for a challenge. You good? Here's the challenge. How many exposures can you schedule this week? They don't have to happen this week. Using whatever tool you want. How many Hot Market? Add up all those. For everybody else, how many conversations can you pivot to a business conversation and can you introduce to a tool? Whether it's an event, it's a tool, or it's a person. How many this week? What's your goal? If you want to qualify for Premier League, how many exposures do you feel would guarantee that you could get yourself to Premier League? In your opinion, obviously there's no such thing as we're making a guarantee, but how many? What would the number be? That you feel like if you did it and you were bad at it, you had terrible skills, but you had so many exposures that eventually you'd have your 10 and 2 and you'd qualify for Premier League. Make sure your goal is significant to be really, really get in front of the opportunity that's in front of you right now. So you have the number in your mind. Now I want you to double the number. Whatever the number is, double it. You can do double whatever your goal was in your head, whatever you wrote down on a piece of paper, I want you to double it. Now, if you're really courageous, I want you to double it again. Do something outrageous. Do something amazing. Do something spectacular. Okay? Do something that scares you a little bit. Do this before you're ready. Do it before you have it all figured out. Plan, do, review is your friend. All business is conversation. You've already started conversations. You're going to look for the transition in the conversation, either them to you or you to them. You're going to use that to tell your story. And from telling your story, you're going to introduce people to a third-party event, tool, or person. Okay? Event, tool, or person. And that will do the job of educating your prospect. Now, and you set a big goal, and I want you to follow through on the goal. Give me a thumbs up if you're going to absolutely follow through on your commitment to your goal. Let me see, for real. I want to see if you're serious or not. You really want to build a business or not. Because if you'll do that for the next 7 days, let me tell you what I'm going to teach you next week. What I'm going to teach you is how to enroll those people. Once they've been exposed, how do you follow up with them? Because most people aren't going to join after the first exposure. How do you follow up? How do you answer any question? How to overcome any objection? And how to close, how to enroll those people as new distributors in your business. That's what's coming next week. Okay? So, first week's challenge was a conversation challenge. This week's challenge is an exposure challenge. How many appointments, exposures are you going to set up to a third-party tool? And next week, we're going to get into enrollment in a big, big way. So one last time, I want you to give me some hearts if you are 100% committed to qualifying for Premier League. 100%. This is not a goal. This is a commitment. We're going to be sending you the script to invite to a third-party tool. We're going to be sending you the step-by-step Hot Market process. We're going to be sending you replay of this in all the languages around the world. I'm proud of all of you. You should be proud of you. I'm proud of you for choosing entrepreneurship entrepreneurship. I'm proud of you for doing something uncomfortable. I'm proud of you for picking network marketing, and I'm proud of you for picking a giant, Herbalife, 95 countries, an absolute monolith of an organization that's still at the very beginning. Would it surprise you to hear from me that I believe this is the very beginning of this company's growth right now? That everything that you've done for the past 44 years as an organization has prepared you for what's going to happen right now. The world needs what you have. You have a great gift. What I'm going to do is to help equip you to be able to educate the world to the point that they understand the gift that you have, so you can involve them and help them live a better life. So I hope this training hits you at the right place at the right time. I can't wait to meet you in person at some time very, very soon. But for now, you have your challenge to expose this to as many people as possible the next 7 days. And next week, I'll tell you how to enroll them. Okay? So I'll see you next week. Have a great time. Go out there, do the thing. Make sure you have the notes. Train it to other people as well. All right? I'll see you soon. Love you. Take care.